A former Minister of Information and founding member of the People's Democratic Party, Professor Jerry Gana, has endorsed Peter Obi to run for president on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, stating that he would defeat any candidate in the North. Professor Gana, who is leading a search team for the PDP's presidential candidate ahead of the 2027 elections, confirmed that the party is actively trying to woo Peter Obi back into the PDP. The PDP chieftain made the comment on Arise Prime Time, adding that the party made a mistake in 2023 regarding the circumstances that led to Obi's exit. Let's listen in.
Actually, we made a mistake in 2023. I wish somebody on the other side, where he was vice president to Atiku at that time. If I were Atiku, I would say, Peter, it's now your turn.
Yeah.
Come up. I'll give you a good vice president. But they didn't do it. What I'm saying now is that in the northern states, Peter Obi under the PDP would defeat any candidate up here. Because our people are very fair-minded. They say, now look, it's the turn of the South. In 2031, it will be the turn of the South, and they are getting ready. So there is that very powerful process. Our people are very fair-minded. They are very just. We are building a nation. We don't want people to ruin this opportunity.
All right. The PDP made a mistake. Meanwhile, Senator David Mark, the interim national chairman of the African Democratic Congress, has declared that the party will not tolerate the imposition of candidates, anti-party activities, or any form of indiscipline under his leadership. While speaking at a National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja, Senator Mark pledged to lead the ADC with integrity, transparency, courage, and vision. Let's take a look.
Internal democracy, transparency, and accountability will be our mantra. There will be no imposition of any kind here. Everybody in this party is equal. ADC will have zero tolerance for anti-party and any form of indiscipline.
The general has spoken.
You are either in ADC or you are not in ADC. There is no midway in this business. And those who are not with us, we will not carry them along.
All right, Rufai on fire. The general right there has spoken. Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
On both
there's a quote I normally say that Vimbai likes a lot, and I will quote it again from Francois de la Rochefoucauld. He says, hypocrisy is the homage vice pays to virtue. The general has spoken.
Yes.
He says no room for anti-party. There are a lot of people that are one leg out and one leg in the ADC. In fact, the spokesperson of the party, Bola Tinubu, came to defend some of them. Part of them is Mr. Peter Obi. So what is he saying with nobody? They will not tolerate anti-party activity. A lot of people are still, there's something in Yoruba called Fidihe, interim. Yeah. It was the government of, what's it called, NS then. We have the Yoruba moniker for Fidihe. So a lot of people are still doing Fidihe with ADC because they don't know.
Maybe he's warning them now.
They don't know where they are going truly. And his party, spokesperson said, there's no problem with it because they also know. So you have to be able to taste every water. Yes. Is it good? No. But that's the way Nigeria politics has become, because you don't want to dive into somewhere fully and they clamp you there. Look at Rufai now. Yeah. He quickly went to dive into SDP when they were going the way of SDP. They clamp in there. They say, no, you're not going anywhere. They are banned. So, okay, what will you say about people like Rufai that met with them in the coalition and SDP is saying, no, he says I'm a member and all of that. So, all of them are doing anti-party. You see, in Nigerian politics, everybody is anti-party. Now they catch now be Barao. Everybody is doing anti-party one way or the other. Even when you see a man that is in a political party that is closing other political parties, it's anti-party. So all of that is hypocrisy. Secondly,
Professor
Jerry Gana. Hey, please, dear Mr. Peter Obi, do not allow them deceive you. There's a word on the streets, me, I'll tell you, it's called handicap. When they carry you, be a handicap, you will be a problem. Professor Jerry Gana is now saying that Peter Obi, I didn't know when Professor Jerry Gana started running a polling agency where they see that Peter Obi is going to win in every part of this. I don't know. He's saying it for his own political reason. After they have dabarooed the same PDP, they've scattered it. And some people are still holding PDP. You want to pull a man that they didn't see him as good enough then. You now want to pull him back to the disaster that they already have now called PDP. For reference purposes, the same Professor Jerry Gana, when you had a man that had decent character, one of the only governors that EFCC didn't try, that had good track record, that was rolling on the bill of your party, that won you in the primaries, called Donald Duke. Didn't you go against him and took the case to the court and frustrated the man's campaign because of the series of court cases then, up to the very end?
Right.
So if you really love the country so much, I know what you quoted in court then was the fact that the party constitution said that if the leader of the party, Olufalaye, then was a particular region, you can't have a presidential candidate from another particular region. But people too could have looked away from that in the interest of Nigeria and allow a candidate like Donald Duke, which a lot of people, praised for his prowess when he was in the Cross River State, go there. But you said no, it was going to be you. And you finally got a judgment against him in the end. So why are we now trying to push Peter Obi to a cul-de-sac? Peter Obi, I think you should be smarter than all of this. You've gone through a lot of wilderness in Nigerian politics. It's for their own selfish interest too. That's just it.
When we spoke with Talbamina, Dr. Mohammed Aliyu Babangida earlier on, he referred to a certain category of politicians in Nigeria as nomadic politicians. And that many of these nomadic politicians, they've left their parties, they have domiciled themselves in the ADC, and that nobody should be surprised if, these nomads leave again. After all, since 1999, we have politicians who have been in almost 5-6 political parties, just jumping from one place to the other. But the irony that I tried to point out was that Senator David Mark was one of the founding fathers of PDP, and he was, one of the major leaders of the party. Is it the same discipline, party loyalty, which was at the root of the crisis in the PDP, that, the people who are now in ADC would ensure? To expect party loyalty under the present dispensation, you can only probably get it when you are in power, and the members of the political party are all expectant that something will come their way. If you are in the opposition, they'll be looking for how to get into power anyway. Now, that's that about that. Professor Jerry Gana is also one of the founding fathers of the PDP.
Yes,
he was one of the people who wrote the manifesto of the party. So he's the father of the party, one of the fathers. So for him to say, he's headhunting for a candidate, he says Mr. Peter Obi. Well, we should look at the arithmetics. If Mr. Peter Obi goes to PDP, a party that is divided down the middle, a party that is in coma, in CTU, intensive care, ICU.
ICU is in coma,
intensive care unity. Now, 2, Wike is there, controlling the party. So is Peter Obi going there to go and fight, those persons, entrenched forces in the party? Although he used to be part of that party. 2, to be president of Nigeria, you have to look at section 134, subsections 1 and 2. You will need 1/4 of the votes in 2/3 of the states. Now, how many states will Peter Obi get from the southeast and the south? Whose governors are all saying we will vote for Tinubu? In the southwest, I don't think any governor will even allow him to get 1/4 anywhere. And then the north, this same north, you think they are ready for a Peter Obi? So Professor Jerry Gana may just he knows something perhaps that we don't know. So he should tell us that thing that he knows.
Exactly.
But I don't see how feasible it is.
Yeah, well, like they say, 24 hours is very long in politics.
The clerk, Mrs. Edith Aja, she approached me. She said, yes, the trend or the norm is that every month, every committee in the National Assembly, we are supposed to share the money. I said, how do you mean? She said, the money is usually shared. I, as the chairperson, I will take a part of it. I'll give some to my deputy, and the rest of the money will be shared amongst the staff of the local content committee. And I was like, did you say that is what happens? She said, yes, that is what my predecessor did, and that is what happens in all the committees in the National Assembly. I said, well, you know what? That money, if it's meant to service the operations of the committee, it's not meant to enrich my pockets. It's not meant to enrich the pockets of the staff. I would not want to collect this so-called imprest. So I would advise that you keep that money in the account and we build the money, we use it for whatever it's needed. If we have to buy office equipment, print stationaries, then we use that money. And I promise this, and the bank statement is here. It's the Sterling, it's an account under the name Senate Committee on Local Content, and the account is with Sterling Bank, and the account number is 00662082209. And when I resumed as chair of the committee, the account balance was 0. And then gradually, at the time I handed over to the next chairman, the account had 13,649,335 naira and 4 kobo. Anyone who has access to it, I have called the account number. You can check. We have gradually built the account. Basically, the money, I never took a kobo out of that in the name of imprest. I never gave my deputy then, who is Senator Edith Afinone, any imprest. He can verify and attest to that. Neither did I allow any of the staff to take any money because that is taxpayers' money and the money was meant to service the office. Oh, but by the way, it would impress you to know that ever since I left office, the money has been withdrawn by the clerk. About 5 million was withdrawn. And 2 days after my removal again, 4.9 million was withdrawn. So as at today, the bank, that account that had 13 million has only 123,000.
All the atrocities that have been committed in the National Assembly, who punished them? We don't follow the budget process the way it is. They will budget money for instance, staff budget, money for training, money for clinic, money for sports, money for books, money. They collapse it. It is in the National Assembly I say hearing about collapse. What is collapse? Sir, both of you know what collapse is. Collapse. The money, now, allowances that are budgeted for National Assembly staff is collapsed. So, we as citizens, because we are still citizens, first, before we became National Assembly staff, and then you have no power to even go and hold a press conference because we are sworn to oath of silence. So I can't even tell the world how I feel. Allowances that we are constitutionally, even, I put it in the Constitution this time, statutory allocation to the National Assembly staff, they collapsed it till now. Some people have retired. It takes over a year, 2 years for them to pay the National Assembly staff their retirement benefit before you start talking of pension. Go and see them. They look like scarecrows. Our former colleagues call us, direct us to beg for money for fuel. They are coming to the National Assembly. You see them standing at the junction into the National Assembly. They can't afford to fuel their cars. So apart from what the Constitution says, themselves, who is looking at the one they are collapsing and chopping? They chop their own, they chop our own. We are talking about oversight. How do you account for the fact that the flight ticket to go and oversight somebody was paid for that person by the agency? What are you coming to write? You go there, they tell you what to write, they give you money, they quarter you, they give you flight, and the members will come and fight over the money that they gave to them. They will not give the clerk. They will not give the committee assistants that they take with. But it's not even the fact that they didn't give the clerk. Now you are compelled to write a report of what you did not see, what did not happen, and you lie. Me as a Catholic, I will just go for confession first. We did a public hearing last year, and then the committee called me to tell me that a consultant was employed to write a report. And then I asked the consultant, were you at the public hearing? He said, no. So what do you want to write? Ifoma, we give you material to write the report. I said, no, it's not going to happen. I will not work with you. I put my feet down and I told him I'm not going to work with you. And I sat down because they are looking at us as if we do not have capacity. Me, I'm just 2 steps out of National Assembly for retirement. So right now, my mother says she's not dancing so that people will give her money. It's so that they will see me. So I will say what I want to say. I sat down and I did a proper report of that public hearing. And I took it to the chairman. I said, this is the report. And they were looking at me like, you mean it? I said, yes. Oh, no, you have to change. I said, no, this is what happened. If you want to change it, you now go ahead and change it. But the original report is in my system. I don't use secretaries. I type my report myself. So if they want to change it, they should go ahead and change it. I am waiting.
The National Assembly is a den of corruption by a gang of unarmed robbers. The National Assembly cabal of today is worse than any cabal that anybody may find anywhere in our national governance system, ganging up to intimidate and threaten the life of whistleblower is deplorable and undemocratic. Once when I was president, I asked outside auditors, both normal and forensic, to audit the account of the National Assembly. They frustrated it on the basis of separation of power. They claimed they had oversight responsibility for their corruption and nothing can be done. It is like asking a thief to watch over himself. Members of the National Assembly pay themselves allowances for staff and offices they do not have or maintain. Once you are a member, you are co-opted and your mouth is stuffed with rottenness and corruption that you cannot opt out. What of the so-called constituency projects, which is a veritable source of corruption? These constituency projects are spread over the budget for members of the National Assembly, for which they are the initiator and the contractor directly or by proxy. And money will be fully drawn, with the project only partially executed or not executed at all.
If people perceive that the elections of 2027 will be violent, they will simply not come out in the election. And that gives birth to voter apathy, which is also another very massive ingredient for rigging an election. So if we understand this, you'll see that we need to counter that psychological warfare. We need to counter this impunity with legal actions. When I say legal actions, not necessarily lawsuit, actions that are backed by law. And number one of it is Peter Obi must write a petition to the IGP, Inspector General of Police, to the Nigerian police. He must write it. This is not about whether or not the IGP will do something or not do anything. It is very likely, as we have seen now, the IGP, the police, DSS, security agencies have been silent. Normally, if this were an opposition voice, they would have swung into action. It is after they have arrested the person that we will be hearing about it. But since it is their own person, it is becoming very clear that even the police is now partisan. But we cannot just leave it at that. We must prove it. We must test whether or not they will come out to say they are partisan. Then we will know we don't have a country. So simply writing a petition to the Inspector General of Police on this matter is a win. It is a deterrence. That's number one. Peter Obi, number two, must